Okay, so we're asking dumb SEO questions. Each week we meet to answer the questions asked on the SEO questions community on Google+. With us tonight we have Arthur Radeliscu. Arthur is a search engine optimization specialist. He works for Daniels in New York, but he's based in Brasov in Romania. Gabriel's in New York. See, I knew it was one of those Christian names. CEO of Rank Secure in Canada is Baruch Lubunski. Baruch, is that the right corporation?
Yes.
Excellent. Dan Petrovic is CEO of Australia's most trusted SEO company, Dijon SEO, and he's not far from me in Brisbane, about 100 kilometres away. Girish Kapoor is an SEO in Chandigarh, India. What's your firm there, Girish? Never mind. I'll make sure I do it properly next week. Sorry about that. Masataki Wasa is webmaster of wasaweb.net. He's also a Google top contributor on the AdSense forum and the Google Plus help community. SEO manager for Zazzle.com is Micah Fisher-Kirshner. Zazzle, no, I did say Zazzle, right, didn't I? Z-A-Z-Z-L-E. They've sold 32 million products on the internet. You'd think they'd learn how to do it yet. Tim Capper is CEO of Online Ownership. He looks after reputation management, conversion rate optimization, and SEO from the Midlands of the UK. Oh boy. Our first question tonight is a difficult one. It's been put on our community by Micah Fisher-Kirshner. He said, if your X default is the .com US, should you also include language en-US as .com US as well? I've noticed that in Google Webmaster Tools, it doesn't seem to recognize the return tag back to the US, i.e., we reference the Canada URL, but the Canada URL goes back to the US via X default, which Google Webmaster Tools doesn't seem to realize. I hope you guys have a clue on that, because I have none.
Uh-oh. Anything, Jim, Dan, Rob, Arthur?
I mean, all right, I'll go with that a little as well. First of all, I think the best thing to do is to contact Christopher Santos. Do you know the guy?
I know Christopher Center. He's a Googler. He's been looking after local search improving local search results.
Well, I'll send the link to his profile. Don't blame me if I get this wrong, but I think the guy is part of the team that built the hreflang support for Google, and he's always interested. I've actually met him in Switzerland in Google's office, and he said that he's always keen to see examples of things not working as intended. So he's actually hunting for cases like yours, and be I assume very keen to take a look at it and resolve it. That said, from my own experience, I've had it set up in such way. So you're saying if your xdefault is the .com, you should also include the enus as .com as well. I did that, and I don't have any experience in not doing it, so I can't say anything in this regard. So I wish I knew.
So it's you have both on there, or you just have the like?
Yeah, we have both xdefault, and we've also included the specific location.
Okay.
So
Because it
Yes,
makes sense. So
Right,
is that from your first line? Is that how you have it set up now, and then Google Webmaster Tools doesn't pick it up?
I just have the X default with the assumption that one doesn't need one didn't need to have both because in the example the online version gave was like, oh, if you have a pure English version, well, no, we just have a we have an English US that we would like to say this that's international. Otherwise, just we didn't see it as a need for having an additional line in there because it was already X defaulted.
Yeah, the last case I looked at, we had, I believe we had both. I should probably look that up, ask my guys if I can dig up an example.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. I figured that just adding it in wouldn't be a big deal, but I wanted to double check about that because it was one of those weird things that cropped up. So.
Well, and I can tell you that I had some href lang problems, and I've asked around, and there is no problem in adding also the enus as a US version only beside the X default. So I've asked John Mueller a while ago, and he said it's perfectly fine. I mean, you can leave it without or with it. It's just fine, both of them. What I can add, it's an additional thing to have in mind, not necessarily for you, but for others who will listen. Guys, if you're using href lang, make sure you're translating all the main content for the pages where you use it, because I've encountered recently a problem where Google didn't recognize all the href lang tags, and I had a lot of languages which were not included in Google, and I've come up with a question and I've asked, hey guys, why is that? And I get an official answer saying that Google doesn't trust enough my website to be able to parse all the href lang because some of my content was not translated to those specific languages I was using. So make sure you translate all the main content and the menu links, not the URLs. I'm specifying this. The URLs are not counting. I mean, if you have an URL in English and you wish to use it for the, I don't know, Spanish version or German version, is just fine. Don't bother translating the actual URLs, but do translate the main content and the corresponding menu buttons and so on and so forth. Only with that, Google will trust enough your href lang, and it will see that your content is indeed fully translated and will follow all of them, okay?
Cool.
Okay. Have we said enough, Micah? I'm still confused, but are you happy with that? Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Next, question 2 on your run list is from the Banyan Tree Healing Centre, and asking, is there such a thing as G plus georelevancy?
Dan can take that. He loves G+.
Me again. Oh God. Okay. Actually, part of this is actually correct. Google actually knows where you are if you specify, and will be suggesting, in certain circumstances, will be suggesting who to follow, and will be suggesting you as one to follow to newly signed up users on the basis of connectivity, geolocation, etc., etc. To say that you have too many followers from India and you're based in Australia, so your relevance is diluted, is not something that I would take seriously. For example, our own page, the Dumb SEO page, has tons of followers from India and Philippines, and is in no way preventing us to rank. So I wouldn't worry about. I wouldn't go as far as deleting my Google Plus page and starting over. That's really not something that I would do in this case. I would have a problem if all your followers are fake, or if you bought them and if you're getting them to Plus stuff, and eventually the page might have a problem. But also, we're yet to see the popularity of the Places page in terms of direct impact on its rankings in organic. We're actually doing a very detailed study at the moment because we have some very puzzling results in Australia, particularly around the hybrid results, blended organic and Places results. And we're seeing very little in terms of impact, even reviews and followers and pluses. It all seems to be rotating still around anchor text and links. Quite disappointing to find out, but hoping to publish more details once we have something closer to being able to call it conclusive. So, long story short, I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't delete my Google Plus profile. I would just keep going and do whatever you do to maintain quality presence. That's my answer.
Yeah, and in this case, it is it's a verified local Google Plus page. So it is tied to a physical location already. So in that sense, where the followers reside, where they are, that shouldn't really matter.
There are other significant factors for a Places page. For example, navigational paths. Where are your followers, or where are people navigating from point X to point Y, from point A to B? How are they arriving to your location? If you have a significant amount of stats there, a new module will unlock in your statistics, and it'll be actually showing you the navigational paths. That, I'd say, has way more potential to in the future represent a factor, not where your followers are physically located. I really don't see that being a problem.
I always tell my clients, like, put the G Plus logo on the bottom of your email. I mean, I had a client that just received, in 1 week, 30 new followers because of this email, right? There's always new emails, and people get introduced to this, and they sign up themselves just because of that bottom logo on the bottom, the signature. It's another great way to add followers and delete followers if he's worried about, that it's diluted. So you acquire 30 new ones and delete if you think they're the fake ones. This way you can clean up.
I'm thinking of putting, click here to cure cancer on mine. Anyway. All right, if you're watching along at home and wondering what we've been talking about, the question can be seen on the Dumb SEO Questions community on Google+, also on the dumbseoquestions.com site, under the title of "Is there such a thing as G+ geo-relevancy?" Question 3 on our run list is how to implement rich snippets for a recipe blog. The lady Ritu Ahuja says that she's finding it really difficult. Please help.
So I haven't actually implemented the recipes, but in the community answers, what's it, Happy Society? Sent over kind of a URL to Google's area for implementing the rich snippets. You can also take a look at how some of the major ones out there do so already, with like allrecipes.com and whatever kind of other ones that will show up, at least on the US side. Given kind of the generic part of the question, and it's just kind of the whole procedure, I would suggest starting there and kind of work your way through that, and then as you hit some difficulties, feel free to come back and ping us.
Okay. Anybody else on this one?
If she's really struggling, I mean, it depends also what website, if it's WordPress or not. I mean, WordPress has some, great plugins for that. I mean, I would only recommend one. Yeah, it all depends on what kind of site she has. So.
Which one would you recommend for WordPress, Baruch?
Well, the one and only Raven.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Raven Tools.
Will that set up rich snippets, will it?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, it's basically does it for you. So like on each and every page, you can implement. I can go ahead and share the plugin here if you want.
Well, by all means.
Let me just get the plugin.
If somebody could add that link to the question using your panelist report.
Yeah, just one sec. I'll get it here.
But
I'll fix up your profile so you can have this report too.
It's called basically it's Schema Creator by Raven, and here's the link right here.
But it adds it to the page. It's not actually in the code, correct?
It adds it to the page, and then you can go ahead and it creates the code for you, right? But you just have to add, the local and like your phone number or whatever it is.
But it's actually on page. But it's actually on page, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, from all the plugins that are out there, I mean. No,
it's a good one, but I'm just saying it does. Yeah.
So it doesn't work in the back end, right? You don't enter all.
Yeah. You'll have to go to the settings and all that stuff, and it'll do all that for you. You just have to kind of, Yeah, go ahead.
Just tell me if it doesn't interfere with your current interface, right? I mean, you can still do your upgrades and so on.
No.
Okay.
Are you saying that there's nothing, Tim?
Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. No, I was just saying to Tim, are you saying that there's an overhead? Is that what you meant?
What I'm saying is if you were going to sort of code up a page with schema, you'd be basically marking up the actual text on the page. What this does, if I'm thinking about the same one, you would actually have the additional text at the bottom of the page in a nice little box kind of thing that you were marking up itself on that page. So it's great for someone who doesn't really understand. It's an easy plug-in, chuck it in, but and it's all nicely done at the bottom of the page. But of course, if if you knew what you were doing, I think it would be much more aesthetically pleasing if you could manually add your schema.
But in her case, there's no way. It sounds like she.
Yeah. But it would be great for her or anyone else that doesn't have any of the knowledge. It's the perfect plugin. It works. It does exactly what it says on the tin.
Okay, Ritu Ahuja, I hope that's what you were looking for. If not, please ask it again on the SEO Questions community on Google+. Hari Babu asks...
I would like to answer that first.
I'm sorry, Baruch, what was that? Never mind. Okay. Hari Babu asks, where can I find high PR link building sites list?
Oh my God.
Who wants to give Hari the bad news?
Yeah, you'll have to.
No, I can give him a good news. I can give him a name from somebody from Google who can, for a quite nice amount of money, he can get a +10 PageRank link directly from Google.
Why don't we just send him? Why don't we just send him to? Let's send him to Fiverr. You can do it really cheap, you know.
Yeah.
Fiverr.
No,
really
I'm gonna. Sorry. I'm gonna step in here, and you know what, Hari Babu. These guys were all gonna say you shouldn't do it, and you know it's bad and it's lame. I'm just gonna tell you how to do it. Okay? Go to Google, type in high PR sites, followed by this file type : XLSX. Now I'm gonna paste the response in the chat. I'm gonna provide the actual URL.
Oh my God.
I have no responsibility what you do with this. This is your knowledge now.
Yes.
With
Disclaimer.
great power comes great responsibility. So what you just found is a gold mine of high PR websites. You can buy edu links. You can do whatever you like with this.
Wow.
Good luck, buddy.
Come on, Dan. You just took the bread out of our mouth.
I love
Yes,
the
disclaimer,
file type command.
What we
There's-
just said, we don't really mean, and yeah, it's at your own risk.
That file type command is awesome. There's so much stuff that people just put up on the net and not realize. Yeah.
Well, I'm a bit perplexed, but let's go on to the next question.
That was a good one.
Okay, Girish Kapoor, who's with us tonight, so he can tell us if we've done our job or not, basically asks a question about a blog, and he's been given, I think, bad advice by his SEO. But anyway, I'll quickly read his question. He says, I have one real estate website. I want to keep the homepage, contact us page, etc. in my own WordPress account under my domain. The problem is our back office software provider also needs to manage the site to deliver our property search results.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to have example.co.uk. I'd like to keep that for myself and use property.example.co.uk for the property search results.
Mm.
However, the software company are suggesting that this method will hurt the SEO, and I should leave the whole site with them for management. Of course they'd say that. The trouble is that they take a while to make changes when I can log into WordPress to do it myself. The keywords we are going for are not very competitive, plus I intend to develop our blog if I can continue to maintain most of the site. What do you think? Should I be persuaded to get a good SEO, let them run the whole site, or should I keep the site and just let them provide the property search results under a subdomain?
I don't know. Like nothing's wrong with using, a wildcard. I don't know. Like he has to. I mean, I would let them manage if he trusts them. Like if he. If he knows who's going to be logging in, logging out, then I would just not create the subdomain and just let them manage it, and not create the subdomain and do everything under the one site. Silence.
Well, look, let's settle the first question for Girish, and that is whether or not it would hurt SEO to have the property search results in a subdomain. I'm suggesting that it wouldn't matter at all. to separate those two functions, providing there was some means to, I mean, providing that you know the user interface worked and they could get their results.
Yeah, I mean, both can work. I mean, I see a lot of subdomains, you know, in real estate area here in Canada. Both work. I don't think it's going to hurt SEO. I don't know who told him that it's going to hurt SEO.
Well, the issue is, isn't it, that he wants to have unfettered access to the root domain,
Yeah.
So by putting them onto a subdomain, that will give him that, and I don't see any harm in that.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, no problem with the. Right now, I've got to read the question. There is no problem.
Yeah.
If you do all the things as it should be done. I mean, you get the links properly redirected and so on and so forth. Maybe not redirected, directed. So if you treat the subdomain in the same way you treat the domain, you shouldn't have any problems. But just keep, keep it in a constant manner. Don't play with it. I mean, don't put it in a subdomain, then switch it on a domain, then go back, and so on and so forth. Be constant and keep it straight, and then it will just work.
Okay, anybody else? All right. Our next question is for Jessica Jager. Is it bad for SEO to use the same blog on many websites? She goes on to say, my company has one main website and 5 separate mini websites for each division. And as she asked, is it bad to use the same blog on all of these websites?
It's well, it depends on how you're doing it. If you use the same content on all these mini sites in their blogs, make sure that every single one of them, let's say you've got 5, make sure that those 4 other sites are canonicalized back to your main site where it first appeared. If you're not intending on doing that, then basically the content on all those mini sites needs to be different. You know, it's labor intensive. One of these things that you might want to consider doing is, if none of those are actually doing anything for you, or they're not bringing any traffic in, whatever the case may be, you might consider just consolidating them all into your main one.
Can I step in a little if Tim get a break? It's possible to keep them all with the same content as being different divisions. Just one little detail you have to keep counting and just do it right. Put different physical addresses on them and different phone numbers, because Google will then acknowledge that those are different divisions with different sales teams which sell the same product in different areas. Okay, so specify the address, if possible, in the footer of every page. In this way, if you have all 5 websites with the same content, Google will treat them differently, and Google will list them on the local businesses, each one in their own area. Okay, you just can't use it in the same area. I mean, you can't use 5 divisions in the same area, but I've used it not 5, 15 divisions in 15 different areas, all belonging to the same country, and it worked just fine. Just put the address on the bottom of the page and it should be different address. So for Google to realize is a different office and just link them to the different Google Plus or Google Business pages with the same address. And in this way, it's a straight and direct directive for Google.
Yep, that's good. Anybody else? All right. We now have a question from Sandeep Kumar. How to stop website internal duplication. I'm not sure what Sandeep means with that. Maybe you guys, maybe you guys can see that.
How to stop website internal duplication? There's many things. She can or he can use Copyscape. Is a great way as well. And also, I mean, I would just go, page by page and take a look at the entire content. Depends on how many pages the site has. Yeah, it all depends. I mean, better if Sandeep can kind of give me an extra, kind of elaborate a little bit more on this.
Yeah, beyond that, I mean, what is it? You've got tonalization, you've got redirects. If you're able to call, if you can't do either of those, there's at least no indexing the content that's duplicate.
Running Screaming Frog would be another option, is to take a look at, the H1s and the images and whatever. Like, again, it depends. How many pages does he have?
Yeah.
A great way is what we do here is just go manually. It depends again how many pages the site has, and sometimes it's better that way. To ask yourself,
Yeah, I'm sorry, Micah. What were you saying there? I missed what you said.
Oh, just beyond what Edwin Young had with the canonicals. I mean, there's the redirects, and if you have like a separate, if you know where they're coming from, then you can't do the redirect type styles. There's always just a no index tag.
Okay. Yeah. Look, let's call this one answered. Here's a very interesting question asked by Shane Kilber. What's the best structure for a real estate blog? He asks, any thoughts on the permalink structure for a real estate blog? My site has about 445 pages, and those ranking higher are more important than blog posts for me, if that matters. Thanks in advance for any help.
Okay, I mean, we are allowed to give him an example of a structure, right? I mean, my favorite one, as a matter of fact, I also kind of searched to buy my house from this place. MLS is a great site. I can post the link right here. And we're actually doing a beta test.
Is that a blog?
Sorry?
Is that a blog?
No, it's just kind of like you search for a house through. But I mean, the style of it.
For truly real estate website. As far as I am seeing, the shorter the URL, the better. I've seen it done by Trulia, Realtor, Zillow. I mean, those are three huge mammoths in the industry, and they tend to go with their URLs as short as possible. But that's available for...
And another one, I think he will be really satisfied with this one. These guys are doing an amazing job in everywhere. It's Airbnb. So I would just suggest go with that style and have him, really look at what these guys are doing. I mean, these guys are doing, I think, one of the best jobs in the blog industry with what they're doing. Yeah, it's a great, amazing blog. I mean, it just...
So, for example, would you leave the category name in the URL or not?
The category what?
The category
name.
If it is a blog...
For example, for real estate.
Yeah, if it is just the word category, no, definitely not. If it is a word which makes sense, I mean, if divides the different parts of the blog, yes, that would make sense. But as a general blog, if you have everything in the same place, no. Just think about the, how can I put this? In a structure, you have to think about if it makes sense. Not necessarily for the user, but for your internal crawling and so on and so forth. If it doesn't make sense, and if you have the same word repeated over and over on all the pages, there is no sense in lefting it over there.
No, I agree with that, but in this case, because it's real estate, if you have the categories set up in different neighborhoods or cities, then I can see using the city name as a category in the URL. No?
This is, I mean, we're talking about two possible outcomes. If his URLs or hers are keyword rich, I mean, if it doesn't end with a bunch of numbers and letters randomly, yes, it makes sense. If he or she is using short URLs, it doesn't make sense to have it because you don't have keyword-rich URLs, so I would make it as shorter as possible. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted somebody. Please go ahead.
No, I said this is just my opinion. So Baruch, or Edwin.
The blog alone, I mean, these guys have, I mean, just really looking at this, I mean, we're talking like 500,000, I mean, the traffic here is through the roof. It's been A/B tested. I mean, this is a solid structure, I think, that will help you. Again, I mean, real estate is totally different, but yeah, in terms of the structure, I would say, the example I gave is a great example.
Baruch, which one of them you said their traffic is on the roof? The Airbnb?
Airbnb, you can go through SEMrush. It'll blow you away.
Quite nice.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, all these guys do, I mean, it's just, I mean, what are they really in? The reason I give this example is because, I mean, of what they do, right? So that's why I gave the example of Airbnb to the the real estate industry. Yeah, because in the end of the day, just find unique places to rent. So I thought it would make sense for you.
Okay. Can we consider this answered, guys? Shane, look, I hope that's enough for you, mate. But if it's not, please ask again on the SEO Questions community on Google+. Tony McCreath wants to know, does having a CCTLD reduce your ability to rank outside your country?
I think John Mueller touched on that, and I think Arthur was also in the conversation, maybe in one of the Hangouts. I don't know if you remember. We asked him this question many times, and he said no.
Yep, correct.
And it doesn't really matter. And sure, I mean, look, if you want a server like close to your area, maybe it's, you know, do the manual search, the hard work, do your homework, and see what, you know, or in terms of like the TLD. Again, there's places like locally you can get them, and if that makes you, I mean, feel good. I mean, Google just started selling them. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the CCTLDs from a different region, they rank better in the Pacific regional search engine. So maybe it's not reduced, but you cannot really rank well with a CCTLD in another region. I gave the example of Google.nl and Google.be. You clearly see that Google basically swapping out the .nl for the .be or the .be for the .nl. Sure, both .nls and .be's can rank, but the NLs do better on the Dutch regional search engine, Google.com.
Totally, just like .cas here. .cas do amazingly. Like they really do a good job. I mean, mine is a .ca. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, and if you want to expand to the United States, you would use .us with specific content for that. So maybe it's not reduced, but the CCTLDs are getting served within those specific.
They definitely do very good in their origin country, that's for sure. I mean, that being said, it's not like you buy a CCTLD domain and you're expecting to rank high. I mean, you get a, I don't call it bonus, but anyway, Google in Webmaster Tools already assigns your CCTLD domain to its native country. So it will rank in that country. I mean, if you have global placed content on your website and Google spot that, as Google is doing a great job, but it's not perfect. I mean, it can happen for Google to skip spotting your global content. You won't be expecting it to rank high somewhere else. But even though you can use the hreflang, I mean,
that was basically in the comments. Tony McGreed basically made a slightly different question. He asks, does every domain get a preference for region, or can a domain be global?
No, the CCTLD domains are already assigned to a specific country in the Webmaster Tools. I didn't find any option to remove that targeted country out from the Google Webmaster Tools, but well, anyway, you can write them.
I think he was referring to the generic TLD there.
Yeah,
that's different.
The other thing to keep in mind with all of this too is also noted in the comments, which is if you're using a CCTLD in a country before in expecting to rank in a country that doesn't expect to see that, that's you know, you're going to probably have a lower click-through rate, which can have an indirect impact on your rankings and traffic, really. So that's also something to keep in mind, is that the very specific local ones might throw people off, and you know, be like, "What's this?" It might see more of it as Google showing the wrong domain, or showing the wrong website in the results, and not click on it.
Yeah, and most important, you can't give Google as an example. I mean, they can do whatever they want with their domain names, so don't take their results.
They always do what they want.
Da, yeah.
Okay, I think we can move on from there, can we, guys? All right. Niraj Kumar asks a question, and if you look at the question either on the Dumb SEO Questions community on Google Plus or the dumbseoquestions.com website, which has a summary of all answers with Q times, you can see a question there from Niraj, and as well as that, he loads an example. It's titled, "Why is publisher showing in the structured data testing tool when the author is not verified?" Hey, Rob Mars.
Because it's a testing tool. I mean, you're supposed to see over there if you have any problems with the structure of the page, okay? If the structure is correct, you will see it in the testing tool, but you won't see it in Google if the author is not verified. I mean, this is how I understand the question.
I think the way that I'd answer, Niraj, is that the publisher and author aren't dependent on the other. The publisher of a site can use rel publisher to establish that they are the publisher of the site, and it doesn't matter whether there's an author for the page or not. Yeah. Any comments? I see Tim Capper is busy. So, anyone else want to speak on this? Okay. Next, I have a question from Marilyn Lesniak. It's a complicated one. It's about rich snippets. She says, when I check my site in the Google Structured Data tool, I'm getting 2 errors. Can someone tell me how to fix these, please? The one is error missing field required. It refers to the Hatem entry. And 2, email verification has not established authorship for this web page. Email address on the marylandstreets.com domain has been verified on this profile. Oh, I didn't say no. There's a no contributor to link and not automatically detected. The simple answer for that is that she just simply has to add rel author or use email verification to verify authorship. Anyway, guys, who wants to speak on this one first? Okay, I will. The structured data testing tool, I can't help you with the missing required field, but I certainly can help you with email, the second part. There are many ways to establish authorship. And you don't have to do them all. But one thing that I found recently when we were trying to work out the plumbing on the dumbseoquestions.com site is that the website can have everything set up exactly as it should be, but if that author does not have a public contributor to link from his Google Plus profile pointing at dumbseoquestions.com. Even if we have the code set up properly, it simply won't work. So that's something that you really should do. It may be that it's difficult to get the code onto the page. You may not have access to the page. So in that case, you can use email verification, providing you have an email address at that domain name. And of course, automatically detected author name in the web page. That generally refers to somebody that hasn't set up authorship, but they do have a byline, like it says by this author on the page, and Googlebot's clever enough to figure out that particular person is the author. As for the error missing required field, and the field required was updated, I'll have to ask one of you guys to answer for me.
I think you hit the right spots.
Pardon?
I think you in regards to authorship, right?
Yeah. Well,
I'm hit the right spot. I think it was. The answer was answered.
That for the ATOM feed, basically Tony gave a good reference to how to fix that. It's pretty common within WordPress to have that error. It's nothing to worry about though. But if you want to fix it, just follow Tony's link.
Okay. Well, Marilyn, I hope that helps you. Next, we have a question from David Jones. It's a 301 redirect question. David says that he's just moved a site to a new domain, and he's 301 the old site to the new domain. There are probably around 30 or more backlinks pointed to the old site on sites that he owns or has access to. David wants to know, is it worth going back and changing those backlinks to point to the new domain?
Yes.
So I get better rankings, or will the 301 suffice?
No, he can go ahead and do that. I would recommend, yeah, to go ahead and do that, as opposed to waiting, like who knows how long. Yeah, I would go and change them, yeah. And don't forget Webmaster Tools as well, like changing the address inside Webmaster Tools and all that stuff. Letting Google know, right, that the change of address, the little gear on the top right. Yeah.
Hey, Alistair Lattimore, how are you, mate?
Not too bad.
Okay. Has Expedia, has the offer been accepted by everybody, or is that? I'm not sure how the stock market works, but you can tell me.
Well, it's been recommended to be approved by all of the board members and shareholders of What If, but it needs to go through all of the regulatory approval and stuff between the competition watchdog here in Australia, so the ACCC, and the equivalent body in the US, which is what, the FCC, I think. Is that right? So there's a whole bunch of regulatory stuff that has to happen before it'll be approved, but it's recommended for approval by our business, so to speak, and our board.
Cool. And they've offered something like 700 million.
Yep, 703.
What proportion of that amount has been attributed to your value?
Oh, about 30%, I think.
Okay. I'd say more. I think more. I think that's probably the whole reason of the plan. That's the only reason they're buying, is so that they can get hold of you. Now, actually, you might be able to help me, Alistair, on this question. We're up to question 12 on the run list. And David's asking whether it's worthwhile going back to change his old backlinks, because he controls the sites, and he wants to change his old backlinks to point to his new site rather than use the 301. Did I dream this, or was there a recent one of the office hours hangouts from hosted by John Mueller, where it was mentioned that Google may not value an altered link? In other words, if a link on a site used to point to a.com and then it's changed to point to b.com, that Google may not value it, or at least for some time.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was qualified, whether that was what constituted, whether that was, say, for instance, going back and updating anchor text, or if that was going and changing the link, because Google's historic recommendations on these sorts of things, for instance, if you were moving your site, is, you know, go and get a list of the most important links pointing to your old site, and then get the links updated to point to your new domain. So I don't know the context of that statement from John, if it was anchor text changes or actual URL changes. I'm not sure.
Yeah, sure. I agree with you, Alistair. It was about the anchor text. That if I understood correctly, it's the anchor text that if you change it, it's clearly that you're seeking a higher ranking through it. I mean, at least for the keyword you're changing it. So that's why probably Google will not value as much as it did before. But for sure, Google's advice is, when you change a domain to another domain, go and transform as much as backlinks as you can to point from the old domain to the new one. Because even though the 301s are almost perfect links, they do lose some page rank. Not a lot, but if you have 10,000 links, figure it out. So the answer is yes. Go and try to change as many backlinks as possible from the old domain to point to the new domain.
Okay, well, look, that's practically unanimous, David. So yes, go ahead and change those links. Now we have a question from Diego Santos Cicado regarding links in the embed code of resource shares. Now, I think this is a really interesting question. I'd love to know what you guys have to say about it. Diego says, hi folks, I work for an educational website that produces study resources that can be embedded in external sites. It works in a similar way to SlideShare, i.e. you can grab a resource and embed it in your site. At the moment, we are including a link to the profile of the creator in the embed code, again, just like SlideShare. However, we are now considering linking to a landing page instead. Do you think, from an SEO standpoint, that there would be anything wrong with this? Should we include the user's name in the anchor text rather than the landing page title, so there is some variety? I'm sure he means to the anchor text.
I think following what SlideShare's lead is on this one is probably pretty good. So they link back to the author, to their author page with the author name in the anchor text, I think. and then they link to the actual slide presentation itself with the slide presentation as the anchor text in the little embedded snippet. I think that would be preferable. Well, in a sense, it depends what you want to do. If it's important for you to rank for the author's name that produced the slide, then obviously that link makes sense, that you would link to the profile with the anchor text of the author's name. If that's not really that important to you, then maybe just link to the slide URL with descriptive anchor text that matches the slide would be okay.
Can I add something to it? I'd like to add, just don't hide any links beneath that which are not visible. No, I mean it. A lot of guys are doing this. If you link it, make it visible through an anchor text, and stick with that one link. Just don't put 2, 3 links and keep them hided and only one link visible. Okay, keep it as transparent as possible, and it should be fine.
And Masataki adds that you should no follow it unless you're TripAdvisor.
In all seriousness, in this instance, I wouldn't no follow them. I think it's perfectly legit to have the most followed links.
Okay. All right, on to the next. It's question 14 on your run list. It's titled Organic Traffic has dropped significantly. Sandra Sinclair says, hi team, a former client of the agency I used to work for recently contacted me expressing severe concerns in regards to their organic traffic. They told me that they'd recently redesigned their website. I don't have any details as to what degree the website was updated. All I know is that the organic traffic has dropped significantly and the website is no longer showing in the top 10 on Google search engine results pages. What would be the steps to take here? What are the action items that must be taken now to minimize the damage? Thanks in advance. All the best, Sandra.
Well, as a first step, just try to determine if it was a Google update which drove your traffic to the ground, or it was only because you've changed the website's design. That's a first step you need to take. If you discover that it was purely from your website design, try to determine if beside the website design, you've altered the actual structure of your website, or if because of the design you moved the main content down below every page of the website. And those are some factors which could alter your rankings if it is only about the redesigning. I mean, it shouldn't be happening this if it is only the design, but I probably I suggest that it's more than only the design to have such a result.
Yeah. A quick way to find out, quantify this problem as well, is to go into Google Analytics or whatever they might be using for their web analytics. Export all of the URLs over the last, say, 3 months of their site, put them into a list, and then put those URLs into a website crawler like Xenu Link Sleuth or Screaming Frog or something like that, and go and quickly check what all of the response codes are for all of the old URLs that they used to have prior to the redesign. You'll probably find, that a whole bunch of them, 404, for instance, and they should have 301 redirected the old URLs to the new ones. If that's not practical, the other thing that would be quick to do as well would be to see if you can get a login to their Google Webmaster Tools account. If the URLs have changed, obviously Webmaster Tools is going to be reporting 404 errors as well. Or if Google Analytics is installed on the site and the 404 error handler has got a custom title tag, you can see the volume of 404 errors that users are getting by going into the page content report, switching the primary dimension to page title, filtering for the 404 error title tag. So if the title tag on the error document might be, error 404 page not found, search for that, drill into that in the list in GA, and you'll see all of the URLs that users have landed on since the redesign that have got 404 errors. Another quick way to quantify whether that's another problem.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Next, we have one from Girish Kapoor. Girish wants to know, how can Google know that you paid to be in a directory? And he also goes on to say, and then devalue the value of your link. I'm not sure that happens. What do you think, guys?
Well, so there, on its own, there's no way for Google to know unless it gets a hold of the agreement or somebody who had done the direct payment of purchasing to be in a directory. However, if part of the agreement where you have to link back to their directory, then Google can reasonably assume that you are paying for it because you've linked to it on your site in some way or form, if you're basically doing some form of reciprocation. And then the other side is if you're doing this at scale where you're getting a lot of paid directory links, then Google may just assume, based on your link profile, that you're specifically doing that, and so may devalue and or penalize you for getting too much with your links. But otherwise, Google, there's no real direct way if you're doing that on your own.
Okay. Well, I think we can consider that answered for Girish. Look, I'm going to skip question 16 unless somebody would like to answer it. Spencer O'Brien has simply asked, how do I improve my ranking on Google? I think it's way too wide a question. Does anybody want to give an elevator statement for Spencer?
How about make sure you've got a good website, good user experience, great content, and promote it so that people find out about it and hopefully link to it. That's a 10-second, make a good product, good website. There you go.
That will do me. And Spencer O'Brien, my suggestion is you'll get a lot of value out of our panel if you ask a specific question, but you can't expect us to write a book with every answer. Pale Jane asks another one, how to increase followers on a LinkedIn company page. It's not really what we do, but guys, would you have any experience? And Pale also gives a bit of ideas. So do we have any for this topic?
Sorry, I had a client call. What question are we on?
We're on question 17 from Pale Jane, how to increase followers on a LinkedIn company page.
Okay, well, I've done great in that. I mean, I have lots of... I mean, how do you do that? Well, the way I did it is also a lot of it, there's no really magic bullet to it. It's really networking, and you have to be good in it. And I joined, a lot of offline places, right? Like we're doing now. I mean, as a Hangout, it's just a Hangout online. So if we were together right now, we'd probably exchange business cards, and you know, you would add me to your LinkedIn, and I would add you to my LinkedIn because we'd be on our mobiles, and that's one way. So offline and online, you know, LinkedIn does give you an option to say, hey, there's an option on the right that says, hey, you know, you may know some of these people, and you can go ahead and add them if you know, really feel that you're gonna talk to them and stuff. You know, chat later on. That's how I did it, and I did well. I mean, you know, some really high-profile people in my city that I got to know that I wouldn't be able to have an option to meet offline. So certain things are offline and some are online. So LinkedIn is like that, right?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, what would be the value of links from a pole dancing club, Baruch?
I'm sorry, what would be a what?
Sorry, didn't you met these people offline?
Yeah, so offline. So basically, it was just all regarding, you know, these were small businesses, corporate, you know, corporate companies. I'm talking like, you know, people from the government, and at the same time, you know, I got some jobs out of that as well. So they refer you. It's just, you know, it's pretty much like, you know, it's just great referrals. What I'm saying is not wasting, you know, not wasting just, you know, clicking and saying, hey, you know, let's network. I'd like to network with you. If you're not going to do anything with that person or, you know, network with them, why add them to LinkedIn? And so that's how it can become very powerful later.
All right. All jokes aside, I think that's a good idea. And for Pale Jane, if you were to network and you could introduce your page and build followers over drinks, face to face with your potential followers. Next is the Tech Blog Corner. It's question 18 on your run list. You can see the run list on the dumbseoquestions.com website. We're on episode 93 this week. Tech Blog Corner asks, should we use the brand URL in the description of a website? For example, should we use abc.com name in the description of the abc.com homepage or on any page of the site?
Some people still do it here in Toronto. It still works well, and I'm sure it works all around the world. But you know, branding is a good one. But to have, you know, maybe just a small little keyword of what you're doing within your brand name, if you can do that, that would be amazing. You know, the site can do well. But
I mean,
sorry, go
the
on.
brand part is fun. I think it's the brand URL that gets a little.
Yeah, I mean, like for instance, I'll give you an example. If I wouldn't hire like a Toronto painter, like that's just me, but like let's say painter Toronto GTA or something like that in my area, I wouldn't hire him. I would go with a brand, and that would be me. So he has to, you know, that person needs to think about that as well, right?
Right, but
Like
I think the question is,
sorry, go ahead.
I think the question is, should they specifically use the exact brand URL, brand.com, in the description versus
Absolutely.
just brand?
That's what I'm saying. The brand would be a good idea, but if it's possible to add just a little bit of the keyword, you'll do well. An example would be like Dejan SEO. He just added the SEO keyword in his URL. But brand, I would go with brand.
Okay, I guess what I see here is it's saying the specific .com part.
Yeah.
In there, and that makes no, like, that I would say you don't need that. You just have the brand part. That's good. But the .com is kind of superfluous these days.
I mean, isn't it a fact that, well, at least Google have specifically stated that they don't use the meta description tag for ranking? It's only used for the snippet to describe the search.
Yes, yes. So for the meta description in the pure SEO world, yeah, that's you don't need to worry about that. And you know, for like other pages of the site, you know, if your site's getting scraped like crazy, then that might be a different story from a mention standpoint. But if it's not, you know, go with your actual brand name. You don't really need the .com portion. I don't think that's, to me, it's just superfluous to really, when people want to know and search for your name.
The reason I just added that extra keyword, if you wanted it, is just because even John was mentioning Monday that more and more, you know, I mean, the SEO world, like, just it's getting more competitive. So if he wants just to get a bit of a competitive edge, you can just add the brand and the keyword. Nothing wrong in that.
Well, yeah, branding keyword's a different story. I don't think that's a problem. I think the brand.com is what I'm pointing to. Is into the question, which is like, yeah, if you're gonna do something, brand or brand plus keyword would be a better approach than brand.com.
And since if the page actually does rank, actually does get a result, and appears having the URL is a little bit superfluous, since Google has it directly above the snippet anyway. Anyway, I think, can I sum up and say the answer to TechBlog's question is no. We don't need to use the brand URL in the description of a website. I think we're all agreed on that, aren't we?
Yeah.
I'm going to take that as a yes. Okay. Hari Babu asks, oh dear, another one of these. Look, I'm going to pass on this one as well, unless somebody wants to give an elevator statement for Hari. Asking questions like this, it's just way too broad. It doesn't help you, doesn't help us. But anyway, Hari asks, how to increase traffic for a website? He goes and say, without using any tool, please tell me, are there any tips or tricks to increase traffic? And moreover, I am expecting a shortcut way to get an immediate traffic increase in organic search. I think it'd be easier to hand over the winning lotto numbers, wouldn't it?
Pretty close.
Now we're going to pass on that one, Hari. Look, I thank you for your participation in the community, and you're a very polite person with your responses in the community. But you really should be asking more specific questions and to get better answers, because we can't be expected to write a book for you with each question here. Brad Sachs asks, what does it take to crack the US market? We are optimizing for a Canadian home goods company with .ca and .com e-commerce platforms. We are ranking really well on Google.com and Google.ca, but Canadian sales are much higher than US sales. US sales are practically non-existent. So what does it take to crack the US market? What do you think may be the cause of this? Do you think it's 1, website layout, 2, content, or 3, the US market? I'd like to know your thoughts, guys.
They didn't leave if it was a .ca or .com in their URL, right?
Yeah, that was the first part of the question. He said that they have both .ca and .com, but their Canadian sales are much higher than the US sales.
Well, I would stick maybe going with a .com in general, like just with the one URL, and then you can, do well on both areas, like the US and Canada.
I'm not sure that that's the answer he's looking for, given that most of his sales are coming from his .ca, it would seem.
He could still do well though in the .ca area.
I think he'd be hard to convince of that, Baruch, since he is running both .ca and .com already, and is finding that US sales are practically non-existent.
Yeah, plus from the fact that .com would be a good one to use anyway for just the US. Leave CA alone and really try to build up the .com. The only thing I'd also add to his list of things to consider, because without going into his whole history and stuff, without all that, he's noting website layout, content, U.S. market. Don't forget, links do play a part. So if you're not getting necessarily links in the, say, local U.S. market, that could also play an impact into, what's preventing them from cracking the U.S. market that way. And plus just the fact that the U.S. market is far more competitive than what you would necessarily find in Canada, so the efforts that play a part for that may need to be pushed a lot more.
Netcoma, Alistair, that was Andre Weyers, wasn't it? Or was it, am I dreaming?
He's it's not his business, I don't think. It's he's working at it maybe as the marketing guy or marketing PR type area, I think. Just let me check the press release. So it says it was founded by a bloke named Luke Metcalf from Sydney. Oh, and Andre Weyer. Okay. I just thought Andre was working there, but that's not true. Well, good day for them.
Yes, good luck for them. All right, moving on there to the next, I think it's our last question. It's a question from Carlo Barbosa, a knowledge graph question. Carlo says, hello everyone. I really just want to ask if Rel Publisher is still relevant with the introduction of Google My Business, or do I still need to add the markup in order to have the logo and other relevant information shown at the right-hand side of the search engine results page? In other words, in the knowledge graph. Carlo says, sorry if this sounds like a dumb question, but Carlo, it's fine. I think it's a good question. What's the answer, guys? I don't have a clue.
I'm confused why Google My Business, which is Google Places, Google Plus Local, would mean that Rel Publisher is or isn't used. What about Google My Business would stop that from being relevant? Or am I missing something?
Probably he mixed up something in the question as.
Would it be that he had this is the way I understood it anyway, he had before Google My Business came along, he created a business page and had that as publisher of his website. Now with the introduction of Google My Business, he wants to know if he needs to make the Google My Business page the publisher of his website. I'm not sure.
I may be wrong, but I think he may be referring to to logos appearing in the knowledge graph if you mark up the site with organization schema.
I'm sorry, Mr. Tucker, could you repeat that? Maybe on the second reading, my brain might kick into gear and I might understand.
Oh, sorry. I'm just going to. A while back, I think if you marked up your site with schema.org organization type and you include a logo, that might appear in the knowledge graph. And I think because knowledge graph, what triggers knowledge graph and what's shown there, it's not really known. I don't believe the criteria have been made public. So if you connect the site which has schema organization type markup with logo marked up to your Google Plus page through Role Publisher, then that might trigger the knowledge graph result with the Google Plus page and the logo taken from the site using the organization type schema.com markup. I think that's what the direction's heading, but I'm not so sure either.
Well, we have time to look at this more deeply, given that this is our last question. I'm not sure if we've given out a good answer. Yes, so I'm not sure.
I think, yes, Role Publisher is still relevant. I think because Google My Business, that's sort of a change in the name. The Google Plus pages are still there. The Role Publisher is still relevant in that respect to tie your Google Plus page with your website. That still is there. And I'm not so sure about the logo section because I think that's where this schema.org markup comes in. Whether two are related or not, I'm not 100% sure, but that's because I don't know exactly what triggers the knowledge graph results in the first place and what is used to populate that knowledge graph result. And my feeling is that I think it would help if the Google Plus page, the website, those two things are connected using Role Publisher, and that you have marked up the logo on your site using schema.org organization type. But whether doing that in themselves will result in knowledge graph being populated with a logo, I don't know, and I don't think so.
Okay, well, I'm sure it works the same all over the world, but certainly here in Australia, to get the knowledge graph appearing, we have to set up it's subtly changed with Google My Business, but we set up what used to be the Google local page. Once we'd verified it and got the postcard and put the code in and had the rel publisher on it, then the knowledge graph would magically appear. Is that the way? Tim Capper is probably the bloke that really is, and you too, Alistair. But surely you guys can give us a definition on this.
Does any one of you use Freebase?
To do what?
You can add local entries, no?
Yeah. Well, you can add lots of stuff to it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not a contributor there, but I know Google uses that for the knowledge graph. So.
Yep.
To clarify for Diego, I mean the Google My Business page is really just a name change for Google and a means of aggregating all of the different tools on a page. And the Google My Business page is not really a page in itself, is it? It's just a means of providing some tools on the page. Am I understanding that correctly? Okay, Alistair, you have to leave. Thank you for your contribution tonight. Your stays are short.
I'm out of here. See you guys.
Okay, mate. Cheers. Thank you. Tim, how about some... Oh, no, I shouldn't ask you. I shouldn't put you on the spot, should I?
What for, Jim?
Well, I'd just like to sum up for Diego. I mean, he's asking a question.
Right.
Basically, he wants to trigger the knowledge graph to work, and he wants to know if rel publisher is the key to it. I would have thought that getting your page right is better.
Well, firstly, you need to obviously, you need to connect to your site with rel publisher. You obviously need to have a verified. I mean, there's nothing that specifically triggers it. One single thing. Obviously, make sure the business page is verified. Connect that business page to your site with rel publisher. Also, the latest post snippet in the knowledge graph tends to go away after 2 days if you haven't reposted something. So you have to keep your page fresh. If you want the larger knowledge graph, you need to get your brand, and ideally your brand name is the same as your business page. You need to get that into Wikipedia or Freebase or something to that effect if you want the larger knowledge graph. You need to obviously engage. There used to be kind of a criteria when it first started pulling it through to knowledge graph was 12 followers. However, I mean that might have just gone completely out the window. But yeah, that's probably gone completely out the window. But that's what it used to. When you connected everything up, that's what used to trigger the final thing. Yeah, follow those steps. I would also, in your contact page, where you list your address and blah blah blah, have a little thing saying Google Map, and connect that to your business page, to the About page, which shows the map where the business is, etc. I'm not saying that's a hit or miss, but that's definitely something that I always include. And so I don't know if it's a deal breaker, but certainly that is something I always include. Yeah, follow those steps and you should be appearing.
All right. Okay, Diego. I hope. Oh, sorry. It's not. It's Carlo. Carlo Barbosa. Once again, I've proved that I'm an idiot. Anyway, we've covered our questions this week. If you have questions, please ask them on the SEO Questions community on Google+. Now we move to our weekly news roundup. Through the week, we post items of interest on the SEO News community on Google+, and after our questions are answered each week on the Dumb SEO Questions Hangout on Air, we discuss these items. First one tonight is one that was posted by Edwin Yonk on Google Webmaster Tools International Targeting, now available. Would you like to talk on this one, Edwin?
Well, basically, it is a new feature in Google Webmaster Tools. I think Micah already tried that one out and asked about it.
Yeah, it's it's a nice little tool to have. So it's one of those nice additions. Still have some questions, but otherwise, it's good. Although it's the thing to keep in mind with it, it's kind of like your when you have crawl errors, it gets outdated pretty quick. So you can, if you have crawl errors, it takes a while for things to come back. So in the same way where if you missed out on the no return tabs, it takes a bit before Google will crawl all those URLs and recognize it and remove them inside of Webmaster Tools. Well, depending on how small your site is, at least, then, or big the site is, that may vary.
So there isn't a 2-day delay then, because it's quick. You said. And most data
I wouldn't say it's quick. I mean, the data is there. I mean, it all depends. I mean, it's based on the pages they crawl. It's just there's no priority for the issues they find. So if you fix it, it may take a bit before that thing updates because they may not have re-crawled those pages.
Now, what I mean is, all the other data in the Webmaster Toolset have a 2-day delay just built in for some reason. I don't know why.
I didn't check on that. I actually don't know.
Oh, okay.
All right. Let's consider that one covered. Actually, there's an interesting backstory to this. This is the tool that John Mueller offered to Barry Schwartz, but Barry wouldn't sign the NDA. Anyway, this was a tool that's been privately Google's been beta testing. It's no good asking.
Surprisingly, when they offered to do they needed testers, it went up pretty quick.
Sorry, all right. They offered it to beta testers in June, and it was ready in July. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that was actually pretty quick in terms of beta side of stuff. So.
Well, that's right. I mean, when I was a beta tester for the Disavow tool, I'm not supposed to say that. You signed an agreement not to mention it for 5 years, but anyway, you're quite right because it took a month for the that tool, Micah, but the disavow tool, I'm not sure if they've even got that in yet. Anyway, yeah. Head off the desk, Tim. Okay. The next is on a mythological creature called the Google Sandbox, version 2.0. And apparently sites get stuck at page 2 to 5 and don't move for a long time no matter what you do. I've also experienced the same thing on my new sites. No matter how many high PR links with good metrics I throw at the sites, they don't respond at all. Oh, pardon me. Edwin, you posted this one too. Would you like to lead out, or should I ask somebody else?
No, sure. Well, basically, what the sandbox is that a new site gets stuck on some high-level page, like page 4 or 5. And normally when you have a new site, you get a period which is called a honeymoon, and you basically rank higher than you would normally. But with Sandbox, you don't rank at all. And some black hat SEOs are reporting that there is a new Sandbox.
Do you think it's true?
I don't know.
Yeah.
When I release a new site, it ranks normally, so I never encountered a sandbox before.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I mean, that little site that we put to explain what this community does, nseo.link. I'm just trying to see if that's appearing anywhere. Doesn't seem to be. No.
Well, you do see the ranking data in the Google Webmaster Tools now.
Oh yes, I was just using an incognito search. Actually, I found it. Hang on. Yeah. If you, I'll put this link in the chat.
Sure.
I searched for that in incognito search, and I'll just find the URL to make it easier for you. And I found the site at position 14, so it doesn't seem like much of a sandbox, although it does say it's page 2. Speaking of that, here's something interesting. I'm just wondering if Moz is all show and no go. the back. I mean, this is a brand new site, and it's not meant to do anything. It's just an explanation page. I mean, the problem with communities is that we don't get enough room to tell our story, and that they only give us 10 links, a maximum of 10. Like I had to remove the Moz SEO starter guide from our community's about description because I had to make a choice between that and the Google SEO starter guide. Like obviously Tim Capper's guide for business had to stay there. That was an automatic, but Google and Moz, I had to make a choice between one and the other. So anyway, ultimately I decided to use Google and Tim Capper. I'm not sure which is the highest value or not. Anyway. But Moz, I took out. Anyway, I mean, this site is nothing special. It's just there to explain what our community does. But, as a new site, I always like to see how things are working. So I've had the site online for about a fortnight, and I checked in with Ahrefs and Majestic SEO and with Moz. Open Site Explorer. Now, Open Site Explorer was the first one to find it because they use Bitly. Anyone that posts a URL on Bitly, that's automatically becomes part of the Moz index. But I don't think they're crawling from there because 2 weeks later, I hope I'm right in saying 2 weeks later, maybe it's only about 10 days, Ahrefs has picked up all, and because it's such a new site and such a thing that we're not trying to promote, we know exactly what the backlinks are, and they're the relevant ones, like from the community, where the link that says, read what this community can do for you. That's a backlink that should show. Anyway, we know what the backlinks are. So anyway, here's my scorecard after a fortnight. Ahrefs picked up all the links, pretty much certainly the first, and probably in about 3 days. Majestic SEO took a while, but eventually has picked up the links. Moz hasn't picked up one. Only the one that I forced by creating a shortened URL on Bitly. So what's going on with Moz? I mean, is there any? I mean, isn't it supposed to be picking up new sites and checking? I mean, how do you? What if somebody was creating negative SEO against your site with brand new domains? What's the point of using Moz's directory to find these links if it's not even crawling these links? Thoughts? No comment? You guys under contract to Moz? We'll pass on that. All right. So that covers the Google Sandbox 2.0. I think we can say confidently that it's just simply not on. Although he does say, let me go back to he says they get stuck on page 2 to 5. Well, our little site has been up, and it is actually on page 2, so maybe he's right. Don't know. Anyway, Edwin Yonk. This was the supplementary content in the Google Quality Raters Guidelines. I think these were your comments, Edwin. One of the things I want readers to check for is whether or not there's helpful supplementary content that enhances a web page, and ensuring that there's no supplementary content such as obtrusive or distracting ads that hinder the page.
Actually, that was a quote from the article written by Jennifer Slack on thesampost.com.
I see. Has everybody got their copy of the Quality Raters Guide?
Was I speaking over Tim? Or? No? Oh, okay.
Would you like a copy? I can give you a link. Hang on. Let me see.
Well, basically, there's nothing really new in the new Google Quality Raters.
If you want the easy read version, go publish the takeaway of it. But there's nothing new in it. You know, it's everything we've been talking about for years.
And it's not that they use this for their algorithms. It's basically to test the new algorithms, and it's basically guideline for the human raters.
I think it's useful though. You can read it, and like for argument's sake, one of the sites that they list on the negative side is eHow. I mean, if I was eHow, I'd be screaming if my site appeared in there. But looking through those pages, you can see what they're looking for. I think it's useful to read the document.
Yes, you can see what the direction is they want to go. Well, there's nothing really new in it, as far as I could see. But I think they should post this on their own Google blog. This is what we use when we check our algorithms. Read this. So you can view how we think, but they didn't do that.
Well. All right. Our next news item is one that was posted by Tony McCreath. I think we discussed this last week, but it won't hurt us to discuss it again this week. Tony McCreath asked, "Is this a smoking gun?" He's referring to an article by Larry Kim. I'm very impressed with Larry Kim. He always produces an article that makes you understand that he knows what he's talking about. I mean, the question is, were authorship photos removed to improve AdWords revenue? Really, it's none of our business. It's obvious to me that if the photos, authorship photos, were increasing the click-through ratio, obviously something else on the page has to be less. So I don't think we need to be convinced that it was to improve AdWords revenue. The surprise only is that they lasted so long. Is that sort of the way you guys see it? No? All right. Next news item is a post that was on the that was promoted by Doc Sheldon, but the post was written by somebody else, and it was titled "State of the Industry - Real SEO Solve Problems." Yes, that's true. And look, I do remember reading this earlier in the week, but it's all gone for me now. Did you read this, Tim? Did anybody read this article?
Yeah, it was good. You know, it was basically, you know, it was just going through how and why SEO has kind of picked up sort of a shady kind of name in the past, and just ideas and thoughts about where we as an industry should be positioning ourselves, and you know, trying to insulate ourselves from companies that still haven't matured enough to, you know, actually provide, you know, a full sort of service to the client, rather than buying packaged backlinks from the subcontinent. Do you know what I mean? It's how we should be maturing, insulating ourselves, and moving forward as an industry.
Yeah. Look, it's not often that Doc Sheldon gives a recommendation, but he certainly spoke positively of this. And if you're interested, if you're following along at home and you'd like to see it, you'll find a link to this article in the SEO news community in a post dated the 16th of July 2014.
Well, just one thing. I like this quote. I don't manipulate Google nearly as much as Google manipulates me. That's a nice one.
Okay. Masataki, I'll get onto that straight away. Dan's gone to bed. I won't see him for about another 8 hours. All right. Next on our agenda is number 27 on your run list. Are we coming to the end of SEO? It's titled. An article from an author not familiar with the subject. Edwin, would you like to talk about this one?
Sure. The community was low on the SEO's dead articles, so I shared this one from Micah Fishner Kirchner. You don't have to read it because it's all rubbish. The author is an analytics guy, and he hates SEO, I think.
Well, it's understandable. People are always they always shy away of things that they don't understand.
Well, if I may intervene, it's true of the end of the phrase over there, which says a writer with an understanding of an SEO would realize that the problem is that only building a good site and marketing best you know But how can you build it without understanding the technical specs? That's true. This is where the SEOs come into place, right? I mean, you don't get an SEO. I mean, you generally don't get an SEO specialist after you build your website, because it would be a lot more to do and to work with than if you started directly by talking with an SEO and determine what do you need in regards to what niche you target with your website and so on and so forth. It's true that a lot of people are already having their websites online and in place for many years, and then of course it makes sense to take an SEO after. But the SEO is not necessarily, I mean, not that it's bad understood, but it's more like a knowledgeable person with extensive knowledge in regards with technical aspects of what you need to do to keep your site in line with the competition, right? I mean, in your niche, and why not in line with the latest trends in Google, Bing, and so on and so forth, because the search engines are changing, the demands of the market are changing, the websites are changing, and so on and so forth. I mean, your job as a businessman is not to keep up with these changes. That's why you need an SEO specialist and a coder and a programmer and so on and so forth. You need to take care of your business, right? Well, that's why you need a specialist to give you on a table and to put it on a table the necessary advice to first to create the best website you can, and the second to promote it. I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
So to conclude, the SEO will not die. I mean, it's not something that has a I don't know how to put that, a lifetime, finite lifetime, and it says it can live only 10 years and it will die, because the advice on how to do things better will always be needed by the businessman, right, and businesswoman.
I don't think. I think that SEO will only become more needed with every day that passes. Because I mean, once upon a time, Mum and Dad could put a site up, and with a bit of luck, their site would rank. Not a hope these days. You've got to have all of your ducks lined up in a row, and there's so many parts to it, so many bits to it, that it confuses me most. Not that it is hard to confuse me, but I'm just using that as me as an example. I mean, the average mug hasn't got a hope of doing anything good with his website without doing at least the SEO basics. So there'll always be a need for people to convey that message, to manage that process. SEOs will only go from strength to strength. One day we'll be saying we knew Tim Capper when he only had £1 million. All right, look, I'm going to skip 28 and come back to it, because I think it's a very interesting one, and we can use that to finish off our news section. So our second last news item was another one posted by Barry Schwartz, and a new Google notice to appear on search engine results pages. And the Google notice says, this site uses Flash, may not work on your device. That's just about to appear. So if your site uses a Swift file on your home page, for argument's sake, you'll probably find that your traffic will just drop right off now. If you were thinking of getting rid of any Flash on your site and switching it to HTML5 for argument's sake, which does virtually the same effect, then I'd do it right now. In fact, today you're already a few days behind because already you're being punished for it. And Barry Schwartz says, I've hated Flash for 10 plus years. It's about time. If your site is in Flash, expect your Google referrals to drop significantly, especially on mobile. Actually, mobile, I think, would have suffered anyway. I mean, Flash doesn't work on any mobile devices, does it, guys?
No, I don't think so. I think it never worked on iOS and Android 4.1 app, something like that. But to me, the most strong argument is the Googler Pierre Farr saying if your website still uses depreciated technologies, well, those are strong words against Flash, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, it certainly did.
Yeah, it is, or at least Barry is saying Android version 4.1 and higher. Don't get Flash.
Okay. All right. Well, we've covered that. That's that message there. Let's look at our last question. Posted by Tony McCreath, commented on by Edwin Yonk. It's about apparently you can tell if a link has been disavowed. I'm skeptical. Tell us all about it, Edwin, please.
Well, Tony McCreath shared an article, and in that article, I forgot his name. He basically asked John Mueller during the Google Office Webmaster Hangouts, or how it is called, and John Mueller gave a surprising answer that if the cache file is updated, then the disavow link will be disavowed. Go ahead, Jim.
No, I'm sorry, I interrupted. If you could run that past me again. Is he saying that if the cache is not updated, then the link is disavowed?
If the cache is not updated, or if the cache is before you disavow the link, then the link wouldn't be disavowed. But if the cache update is after you uploaded your disavowed list, then the link is disavowed.
What about pages that don't have a cache at all? I mean, lots and lots of pages. You can try to get the cache, and they just don't have one.
From the article, this is what he says. If you see that the pages has been cached on a date that is after the date that you disavowed the URL or domain, then your link is disavowed. If you don't see a new cache since your disavow was found, then there's still a chance that the page has been revisited and the disavow applied. But it isn't possible. But it is possible that it is not yet been disavowed. Makes sense?
No, it doesn't help me. Because, like, the caching of a page, that's sort of part of the crawling process. And we've always been led to understand that the disavow tool is some sort of a file, if they ever put it into place and actually make it work. It's a file which is consumed by the Penguin algorithm. So what's the penguin got to do with caching?
Yeah, I thought they had to rerun. Oh, sorry, Rob.
Yeah, the fact that the page is cached only says it's crawled, and if you disavowed it, it will be disavowed. But that doesn't mean the penguin penalty will be lifted. That will be only lifted when the penguin is run again.
But surely this means that if a link's disavowed, it won't be it won't be crawled. I mean, is that what's being said? That once a link is disavowed, it won't be crawled? Because I mean, say there's a page on whitehouse.gov and I disavow the homepage of whitehouse.gov. Is it saying that Whitehouse, once I disavow that, whitehouse.gov won't be crawled?
No, I don't think the disavow list has anything to do with a site being crawled or not.
Okay, so
I think the only statement was that when you see that a page is cached after you disavowed it, you can assume it's disavowed. That's the only thing I read in it. And that doesn't help you much, since if you have a penalty, it will only be lifted after it's rerun. If it's algorithmic, it should be helping you from that moment on.
I'm still look. I'm a bit thick, guys. You've really got to work hard, for the light to go on here. All right, let's use the example of whitehouse.gov, and I decide that a link from whitehouse.gov is really bad for me, and I'm going to disavow it. So we want to know what are we really wanting to know here? Do we want to know if Google has accepted it or what? I mean, what links the process of crawling to the disavow process? I mean, the crawling of whitehouse.gov has got nothing to do with my disavow list. I just don't see the connection.
The only thing you can see is when there is a page that hasn't been crawled for a very long time. I think we must think a bit the other way around. If it's very long and there's still an old cached page in there, then you can't assume it's disavowed already. So if you are on a real bad page that's only visited once in 3 months or once in half a year, then you could see it there. It has nothing to do with regular visited pages and that kind of thing. That's the only thing it tells you.
Gee, I don't know. Masataki, Tim, what's your opinion on this?
Sorry, Jim, I just got back.
No problem. Well, we're talking about, actually, Edwin, I have no idea what we're talking about, so can I ask you to say more?
Well, it's safe to say that you've lost me, quite a while back ago. So.
Edwin, actually, let's find the article. I'll go to the SEO news community on Google Plus and find the link to the article. Sorry to take so long.
Well, apparently somebody was in a Hangout with John Miller, and his weekly Office Webmaster Hangout, or how that's called. And he asked about the, what did he ask? If a site is in my disavow file, and I see that a site has been recached since I disavowed, can I assume it has been disavowed? That was his question to John Mueller. And let me see if he's got a quote from John. John says it is possible for the Google index to be updated and the page not to be cached. But if you do see that the page is cached, then your link really should be disavowed. Makes more sense?
Yeah, I mean that.
But it doesn't say anything about Penguin, does it?
No, I mean I understand what he's saying, but I was under the impression that they only ran, well, that they updated the files in the normal process. But
well, apparently it is being dropped from the link ref, and after that there has to be a data refresh for Penguin, or a rerun of Penguin, or a new version of Penguin.
Yeah, I mean you're not gonna get out of any algorithmic penalty unless there's a refresh, or
if it's on the algorithm that's run normally, then it could have helped you, or should have helped you, but not by a specific one like the Penguin.
No, it won't make a single jot of difference. If you were caught algorithmically by Penguin for links, and the last one was run in November, and you've disavowed all those links, and you've worked your way through, and you've got some of them to reduce some and remove some naturally, and you've put the rest in the disavow file, it's not going to make any difference until that gets refreshed, which doesn't look like any time soon. There could also be the possibility that they've kind of put, like, if they never refresh it again, then they may have put in like a release date or something into it, so that all the sites that have been, you know, done by it algorithmically have kind of get out of jail card at certain release dates, depending on.
I think he said something like that in during that last Hangout.
Oh, did he?
Watch it completely. But if they decide to stop something like Penguin or Panda, then sites affected by that will be lifted the penalty that affected it.
Yeah, and this is the weird thing. It's like Penguin hasn't.
Specific loan or mugshot or Panda or Penguin algorithm, the sites that affected are being put back into their place.
Yeah, well, as far as I know, Panda runs automatically now with the normal algo. Penguin's the only kind of one that really needs manual start, you know, refresh. But this begs the question, you know, and it's a little unfair in the sense for sites that have been nailed and cleaned themselves up. You know, they've been waiting 9 months now. And the weird thing is Google might say, no, sorry, we're only going to run it like once every 2 years now. Well, bloody hell, that's not very fair.
A lot of people have to wait 9 months. So.
I know, it's just, the thing is, if you're going to be hit by a Penguin, or, you know, or any penalty, pray that it's a manual, so that at least you have the chance of sorting it out with reconsiderations. Bloody hell. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not convinced, guys. I mean, so what's being said is that every time a URL is crawled, there's a process that takes that URL and then goes and checks all the disavow lists to see if a no-follow needs to apply. John Britzios, how are you, buddy? You've got a couple of nice mentions on the dumbseoquestions.com site this week. People thanking you for your answers. By the way, too, John, before I forget, could you add a contributor to link to the dumbseoquestions.com site, because otherwise the authorship on those pages that you do answer, it doesn't function without that contributor to link. You're muted, John. Still no sound. I'm not sure which button you pressed, but I could have done it in the days when Rob Wagner was here. No, I still can't hear you, John.
1, 2, 3.
There we are.
It works?
Working now, yes, mate. Look, we're discussing, on your panelist report, it's news item 28, but we've already covered 29.
I can't log in, Jim. I tried to log in. I found it now, the link, and it doesn't work.
What,
my password or something in the panel.
Okay, I can reset it for you if you like.
That would be nice. I have the window open here, but I couldn't get in.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, good stuff. So let me open up this window.
Okay, I've reset it to change this without a space, so you can change it to anything you want.
Okay. Let me see, because I need to go here.
So the login's info at and info at, you know, that's the name.
Okay, to my email. Okay, thank you, man.
And the password changed with no space between it, all lowercase.
Okay. It takes a minute because our spam filters are very strict.
No, I haven't sent it out. If you've got the page open, I'll give you the URL.
What Edwin sent me now here, right? Let me see.
Oh, right, okay.
Just say.
I thought you were having trouble. I've just put a link in the chat that I thought you were having trouble logging on to.
No, I have that open. I have that open.
Okay. Yeah, so that's that page there we're talking about.
His web marketing. Apparently, you can tell I did some experiments.
While you're reading that, I'll just say that my understanding is that what's being told to this guy is that every time a URL is crawled, a process goes out, checks all of the disavow files, and there's probably, I don't know, hundreds of thousands or millions of them. I don't know what the take-up is. But checks those to find that URL and then applies an invisible no-follow to that URL for that particular domain that has lodged the disavow list. Look, I'm not smart enough to be able to call bullshit on that, but it seems to me it doesn't seem to be a very efficient process or a very logical process. I just can't imagine how that could work.
That means that when the disavow is being uploaded, that's Googlebot immediately will go and visit that link, and they will no follow it. Did I get it right now? I'm still trying to.
No, what we're saying is that the instruction was to check the cache. If the page has been crawled,
yeah,
it will have an updated date on its cache file. And if the page has been crawled subsequent to the date of the uploading of this disavow file, it said that page has been recorded. How?
No, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make absolutely any sense.
See?
The way I read it is that once if the URL is in your disavow list, once Google crawls that page, it will drop it from the link graph for your page. So
yes,
but it doesn't say anything about penguin in the article, or at least John doesn't say anything about the penguin. He just says, well, then the link is dropped from the link graph.
But it's not. I mean, surely it's still in the link graph.
Not for your page.
Yeah. So it's no longer in your page's profile, link profile. It's certainly not affected. It doesn't affect the link graph because the link still exists. And it may be, I mean, I might disavow whitehouse.gov and not want that PR10 link or PR8 link.
Okay, let me get into this. Wait a second. Let me go here and here. How do I get there now? Let me see. I can. Yeah, here we are. Okay, let's make something clear, which is very simple. I uploaded this disavow file. That's not now telling Google, like, Google, you know what, I want you to disavow that link, and Google is going to jump on the train, and right away they're going to drive all the way to that website, and they're going to crawl that page, and they're going to disavow, or maybe act like attributing the link with a nofollow. Let's put it in simple words. That's what's really happening. I mean, the link is still there, but once Google will discover the link, what I put in the disavow, they're simply going to nofollow it, to attribute. We'll call in our words that they're going to attribute it. I mean, in layman's words. It's gonna be like nofollow. The link still exists. It's still there, but it doesn't carry page rank. Now, when that happens, the process takes longer than I'm hearing all the time, and I'm going to tell you guys some news that happened. I mean, I could tell more about, not even a week ago. It was, after I think the last Hangout. It took on, I think, 9 domains. I did the same time, within the same time, from the 19th of May to the 25th of May. I saw some significant changes, sudden changes, an increase of traffic, disavowing, creating disavows for different websites, updated actually because they already existed, but there were a lot more to come in. So we updated the disavow, and it took about 6 to 7 weeks that we saw on the webmaster tools and the Google Analytics that there was a sudden increase that clicks and impressions were going up. That told me that there are a lot of fairy tales going on around where I heard a story that somebody said he put up the disavow and in one day it took effect and something like that. Others say 3 days, others say 1 week. There are different stories. Googlers, they said many times, I remember that, and I think maybe John Müller too, where they did say that it could take up to 6 weeks or sometimes a bit longer, if I remember John Müller saying that. So that's nothing like...
Can I interrupt though? We're talking 3 days, 6 weeks and so on, but how I mean, if Penguin only runs every year or twice a year at best, or at least that's been its history so far, I mean...
Okay. The answer is very simple and it's very clear. What happens with the Penguin? The Penguin is they have different sets of websites that they're going to go to do their pre-evaluation, prepare for the Penguin. That means it could happen that tomorrow the Penguin is coming, and 1 day before, or 2 days, or 3 days, or 1 week, it doesn't matter. We don't know, because they're doing this work in sets. They don't do everything at once. They just don't crawl the entire internet in 1 day and reevaluate the whole internet. So they start the process a little bit earlier, which means that, let's say I uploaded my disavow, I didn't have a disavow, and I was hit from the Penguin, and let's say 3 days before the Penguin, I uploaded my disavow. I could miss the train. That means they need, I would assume from what we know about their capacities and what we have experiences with caffeine and all that stuff, I believe they need about a month before to start the process and start setting up for each set of websites. I mean, to pick up the disavow and slap it in, so when the update is going to happen, that all those links are going to be ignored, or if they didn't even do it already, the day when they already had your site on the list, you know, on this list. So, and that's what is kind of, I have concerns, for example, if a customer will come, let's say today, and the Penguin will come maybe on Monday, and I sit over the weekend and I put up the disavow, that doesn't mean that the customer will be, from this Penguin update, he will be saved, put it this way. That is going to be taken into account, because physically it's not possible. So, and about the other thing, what you said, that if this guy said, I didn't really read the article, if he said now that the disavow is going to take immediate effect because the page was already cached, that is not correct. Alone from the statements of the Googlers, they say that they need some time to process. To process means these links will be first crawled. First, Google is going to see if they're still there and if there's anything changed on that page or anything changed on the website, for example. That's possible, you know? So that's the reason that they certainly need to recrawl it, but then it needs also some time to update also. When they're going to recrawl it, they're going to say if the link is good or bad. That's very important. They're going to tell if it's good or bad, if it has to be disavowed or not. When we are saying disavow, that doesn't mean that we're telling Google what to do and which links to disavow. If Google considers a link that link should not be disavowed, and it's a good link for the users and all that stuff, they're not going to disavow it. We have to be very, very careful. Now, many cases where people said, yeah, by mistake, I did some links, I disavowed them and stuff like that, and suddenly I lost rankings, and they were good links after all. When it was an SEO guy, I heard stories, for example, that he put good links and he put them in the disavow because he was using some kind of tools, you know which tools I want to mention. So, and they said that they had drop in rankings. Well, they were links which Google, they were certainly not the best links, which Google could not figure out that they're good links. But it happens that Google cannot still 100% tell with accuracy if a link is really good or a link is, let's say, it's still okay, put it this way, and then we have then the spammy links. To back this up is the statement of John Muller in a previous Hangout. He mentioned that was several months ago, where he said, you still can rank for with spammy links, and we know that. I mean, that's nothing new. We see that every day. So there are links which Google is still not capable to classify as, let's say, negative or inorganic or something like that. And there are people still ranking with links which normally, if we see it with our strict eyes, with the eyes of the penguin, or in general their links algorithm, they should be out of the graph. So if this guy said on this article that Googlebot had it in the cache and he doesn't need to revisit, that is another, how do you call it, SEO bullshit or whatever.
Well, okay. Look.
Is it her? Oh, okay. And who is this?
What you say makes a great deal of sense. Can I throw an alternative view?
Yeah, okay.
What if...
Oh, that's Marie. Oh, my God. Okay. Shit. Well, I'm telling honest what I think, right? Nothing against Marie. Okay.
Who's Marie? Oh, I
see. The article, yeah.
Right. Look, I mean, Google has often stated, or at least Matt Cutts has often stated, that Google wants to distract and demoralize people who are search engine optimizers. And, you know, like the negative SEO, I mean, it's been ticking away for years, and first they tried to say it's impossible, then they said it is possible. Now, you know, I mean, everyone's known it's possible, but now they're finally admitting it. What if the link disavow tool exists solely to give Google a let out against a class action for all of the mums and dad sites innocently harmed by Google's mistake in using upper limit thresholds and making them so easily spottable? You know, what if this whole link disavow thing is just bullshit?
To be very honest with you, I have, let's say, a similar opinion that it is not really the ultimate solution, but I'm not gonna blame Google because it is a sort of kind of aid to the webmasters to achieve a certain degree of clearing up their profiles if it is because it's something negative SEO, or it could be that in the past, for example, they did a mistake and they hired that, I don't know, third world, let's call it like that, link builders, or even in the US, America, Germany. Yeah, well, let's say one of those they call link builders that, you know, they have no clue and they're just trying to get links for PageRank and slapping links all over the place on forum profiles and you know that stuff. So what's going on here is where I'm thankful on the one hand that the disavow is there just for some occasions where, like, if you get a manual action, or even for the penguin that well, if I'm writing the webmasters emails and begging them, hey guys, please, can you please remove the link? And then I'm getting replies like they're asking like $50 to remove a link, $25. I had a case somebody was asking $500 to remove the link, which I didn't build or no link builder built, for example, from my own stuff, my own websites, right? So for that reason, I think it's a great, let's say it's an aid. I would put it this way, like it helps to a certain degree, but I can't blame Google because on their rules, what they're writing about the disavow on the Webmaster Central, they're explaining how the disavow should work, and they are telling us not because of a manual penalty, they're talking in general. And Matt Katz reiterated every time he talks we talk about disavow, and the guy is talking about, he's saying, go out there and try to to remove as many links you can physically. Contact the webmasters, and if all your attempts didn't work, then go and slap it into disavow. He doesn't say, yeah, it's okay, man. You know what? You got all those crappy links. Yeah, okay. Well, it's your problem. You know, you hired those link builders. We're sorry, but not knowing doesn't forgive. So and they're saying, go out there and try to get them removed. Now, my question is, and it always will be, how effective now would be the disavow? How do they tell how much from that disavow they should take into consideration? My question to that is, to be specific, does that depend on how much, do they have a kind of ratio, a kind of threshold where they say, well, he had 1,000 links, he put in the disavow, how many links have been removed physically? Because you have to think about it, that this disavow, if it was taking effect like everybody would wish, that we just slap up the links, Google takes it for granted like the holy script, that John Bridges, he uploaded 1,000 links because those links were crappy, and Google says, okay, John Bridges, everything is good, you put those 1,000 links, okay, you think they're bad, it's good, buddy, we'll slap them off the board. But the question is, if that would happen, then you know what? We can play a little bit, let's call it, how do you call it, dirty SEO or black hat. I'll go out there and shoot a bunch of links. When you start shooting out their links, we all know that. If you get several links out there, it doesn't matter if they're related or completely unrelated, or if they're spammy sites which Google didn't catch them yet, and you see they're in the search results and they're even ranking. And I go and grab some links and put them up. For a while, I will see an increase in my rankings, obviously, right? Until or a penguin comes, or until I get a manual action, or until their Everflux link algorithm, what they have also in Everflux. We don't have only penguin, we have it also in the Everflux, you know, what they're running all the time, you know, continuously. So I can go out there and start, if I have a website and I want only temporarily to rank it, you know, like black hatters do, where they go and shoot 1,000 links over the weekend and suddenly you come on the first page. You got rid of what you want to sell, and then you don't care about the site, you just tear it apart and throw it in the garbage can. So it's not so easy, and I'm arguing since the disavow exists, but yeah, well, there's a lot of misleading stuff, but I want those people who are misleading to answer my questions. So it is a tool, a good tool. Now what I do is that, though, is when I'm looking at, like I said in previous discussions, I'm looking very way back, all the way back of the history of a website. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to retrieve as many links as possible from different resources, and not only relying on the webmaster tools. And I'm going, for example, using Majestic SEO. For me, is probably the best when we're looking for historical data. I go back in the whole history and I evaluate also links, which we all know not only exist in the webmaster tools. For the webmaster tools, I would only look if it's something urgent, that somebody got a manual action. I just have to look at those links. That's what Google says. So if the links, I take care of the links that are on the webmaster tools. There I have then a chance to come out of the manual action very fast. But if we're talking about the overall link profile, that I want to fix all the problems of a customer that he might have from past links, which are, you know, historical data where we can pull out from Majestic SEO, and I go far deeper, all the way back so far I can. Now here though comes now the thing what I really have to say again. When Google is not showing the links in the webmaster tools, doesn't mean that they don't exist. We have to make that clear. They're giving us a sample of links, what our website has. Now they said that they're showing us more, but they're still not showing us our entire links to each webmaster. So what happens though is now we find, when we do a backlinks research with Majestic, the historical data, we find a lot of links that they're no more there. For example, and the best ones are, which I really love to find, when I find links in Majestic SEO, and those pages became sadly 404s at some point. But the question is, I cannot tell if Google already revisited those places, those pages, those websites. Nobody can tell. We can't tell it. We're not monitoring Googlebot. So we can't tell if they really went ever again back to those pages, or if Google just completely ignored them, or they visited the last time a page maybe 1 year ago or something, or 3 years ago or so ever. And Google still, like this lady said, if I understood right what you said, that the cache of Google, that they're cached. For me, if Google didn't recrawl those pages and figured out that, oh, wait a minute, this page became a 404, so we're going to drop it off the cache. So it's still in the cache. And what I'm doing is, and I'm suggesting people, and I mentioned this in different Hangouts and everywhere, I suggest to go out there and pick up those links and remove them with those links which are 404s, 403s, 410s, and go and remove them in the outdated content tool. John Mueller said no need to do that, but I think because when I was asking him the question, I didn't have a lot of space to write in that chat box, and I think he didn't really understand it, but then I didn't take this discussion any further. But I think I would like to invite him to talk to this in depth. But what I did was I saw success. We're doing it. And to be honest with you, there are 3 websites from the same owner, and I got some guys from the Philippines. I mean, I'm not working with, I just asked the customer, and he said that the guys who build those links, they can remove them, and they can do the work. What they did was we found 33,000 links all together for the 3 websites, and the one website had more than half, and the others were split, you know. So, and we send that spreadsheets to the Philippines to some link builders, but we gave them manager access to the webmaster tools of our customer, and then they went in and they manually removed within a time frame. I think they took about a month, where they all those 410s, 404s, they added them in this outdated content removal tool. Not, you know what I mean? Not, it's for external sites. You can use that, right? Do you know that one, right? I'm sure you do. Let me send the link here. Maybe this would. And we clean it up. That means that when we are telling Google, hey, Google, that page doesn't exist, when we're using that outdated content tool, that will be stored in Google's and the list to be crawled and to be checked, like we do with the webmaster tools. I delete a page on my website and I plug it in and I submit it. So I'm telling Google, hey Google, this page has been removed. So when Google is going to process that, it won't maybe it doesn't process maybe instantly, right? I'm not saying that this is like a fetch Googlebot thing, but they do it. So if it has been removed or not removed, you see that at some point. If it have already been removed, when you put a link in there, which is a 404, immediately you get a pop-up and it says, oops, this link has been already removed. So we know.
Can I just interrupt you there? I thought that the removal tool was only for emergencies, like, say, if an accountant had an issue with something which accidentally displayed a client's confidential details, they were able to remove it. And I'm fairly sure I've heard Google is saying not to use the removal tool.
Yeah, I know. I heard about it too, and I'm being told, but I still do it.
I see. Okay.
I don't care what Google says, because Google has to tell me, hey, you know what? The disavow will work. You just put up the disavow, and we will take care of it right away. And they have to guarantee that they're going to take care of it. I can't still rely on Google with the disavow. That's it. I'm sorry. And if somebody relies on them, that's fine. But I explain why I can't rely on these guys. You get my point. Because, like I said, my disavow doesn't mean that because John Briccio says all these links should be disavowed, that Google is going to jump right away and say, oh, hi, well, thank you, Mr. Briccios. Yeah, let's disavow it, you know. Google cannot rely on every webmaster. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I was just wondering, was this the elevator statement you promised me, or was it not the abridged version? It's is this the full version? Is that what you mean? No. What? Oh yeah, that link in the chat is to the removal tool. Yeah.
I use it, and
All
if
right.
Google doesn't like it, they take it down. As long as it exists, I'm going to use it. Before, what I did when I started with this penguin story, when nobody really knew what's going on at the very, very, very beginning, what I was doing was, we created a kind of friend feed account, which was a sort of like with no profile, who it is or anything like that. And what we were doing was, when we were getting, for example, webmasters, they removed the links, and that was no disavow that time. And webmasters agreed to remove the links, and they removed them. What we were doing was, with the hope, we were hoping, and maybe in some cases it was working, I can't tell, I'm not Googlebot, but we were shooting every link with a description to make it natural in friend feed, and then we were just sharing it on a friend feed account. So I know from my experience, and many of you should know that too, that friend feed, when you shoot something on friend feed, Googlebot will jump right away onto the site a few seconds after friend feed is being posted. When you share something, so Googlebot goes there. Now, what Googlebot does, if they're gonna just go there, if they're gonna just visit the page, just ping it and save that for later access, they just ping it. Or if they're gonna crawl the page right away, which maybe they do, maybe not, I don't know. But I know that we did it because we didn't have another way to signalize to tell Google, hey, Google, you know what? Those links are now not there anymore. You know what I mean? So, and I'm taking advantage of this tool so far as possible, because Google, yes, they're saying that, like I said, Google says, don't use that tool for such purposes, but then tell me, Google, how am I going to tell you that those links are not there anymore? I don't know if they know that it was,
Yeah, I just put a note in the chat, John. You are the fastest reader on the planet.
What?
Yeah, go on.
This tool, you can only use this tool for your own verified domains, no? Or
No. Just put in a link where you know that it's been removed from another website and put it in, and you're gonna see what's gonna happen.
Okay, so this for any link.
Yeah, Googlers maybe hate me for that, but for telling the stuff, but that's the way it is. I don't have another way, and it works.
But that's the normal removal tool, isn't it?
No, it's not in the Webmaster Tools for your individual account. This is a tool on the Webmaster Tools, but it's not in the panel of the Webmaster Tools directly.
No. This is the one we always advise to use in the forum also. No secret about it.
Well, it's not secret. They have it public, man. I just said that's not it's not in the panel. When you go in the Webmaster Tools in your account, you don't see it directly there.
Anybody can use this.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody has that. You just need to be logged in.
You can even use it for a page that is not removed but changed content-wise.
Yeah, they have that. Yeah, it's outdated, yes. But you need to write what changed. It pops up a window, pop-up. And then you say, you click on the page have been changed, and they have the option something where the page changed and there's still content there. And then you write a kind of message, what could be changed. I usually put a word. if it was a word on the document like a text link, for example, anchor text, like contract mortgages, for example, it was only one time on the page. And that's
the name of a person.
Yeah, for example, yes.
Taken away.
Yes.
So this is not the remove URLs in your webmaster tools.
No.
It's completely separate.
Completely separate, but it's under your account, under your name when you log in. I mean, you know.
Yes. My Google account is attached to it. Yes.
We removed the last, since it exists. Honestly, guys, at least I don't know, 100,000.
And this helps to recover from. And this helps to recover from Penguin.
Well, the Penguin. Well, I'll ask you this. I won't answer directly. I'll ask you this, and you have to tell me what you think. If Google already have cached, so they have cached your entire history, and there are many websites that pages where your links were living on, they dropped. The websites were very low quality. They almost had no page rank. Let's put it like this, very low page rank. And they never crawled the website to go deeper, so deep to find that page, to see that it's a 404. So you're cached. It's cached, the page. So when the Penguin is going to come, they're taking into account everything at that moment where you're on the list. You know, I said they have these sets of sites where they're going to prepare for the Penguin, what they deserve to get, the grading. So, and they're gonna look at the cache. I mean, what already exists, what they gathered until this moment, and then they make the evaluation of your current status of your link profile, and then boom, they slap the Penguin. You get your grading, or they say you fail or you win. You know. So the question is, relying on Google without me knowing if they know that all those pages don't exist anymore. That means I have to be prepared that Google is going to give me a slap in the face, even if it's not my fault. If somebody disagrees or somebody has a different opinion, please tell me, because I can't figure out something different. You understand? Yeah. And that's why Matt Katz, for example, said, hey, you have to look also at your history. And many SEOs, and I agree with them, they say you have to look back, all the way back in your history, because they were saying that Google is, with the Penguin, they're hitting us, and they're looking far back in the history, and that's what's meant in that case, you know? So, but if somebody disagrees, please explain. I mean...
So you're using that removal tool in combination with the disavow tool?
Yes, correct. I don't rely alone on the disavow. I would never do that. And I'm happy that it exists, but like I said.
Yes.
And the good thing about it, I'll tell you this, I mean, the very main reason where I came up with that idea before, it wasn't because, like we're saying here, yeah, go in there and remove the links and stuff like that, just because, no, it wasn't, I had the idea because I was thinking just putting in the disavow, the links which already, and the links which were already 404s, and I know them, they go in the disavow too, right? I do that anyway, but I couldn't rely on that. And I was thinking, well, if I put it in the disavow, okay, at some point Google is going to process, they're going to go and check that link, they're going to see that it's not there anymore, and they're going to drop it if I put it in disavow. But the question is, would they really do that? Do they, because the disavow is not a sitemap, or it's not a ping or something like that. It's not a fetch Googlebot thing. Can I rely on that? And these are questions that no Googler would like to answer. So, and then I was thinking, well, wait a minute. So Matt Katz on the one hand, and also in their guidelines, they're saying with this removal tool, with the disavow tool, they're saying, you know what? Try to remove as many links possible you can. So, and when they say that, they, like I said, they don't take the disavow full in account right away. So, and I was thinking, okay, so if they want us to remove links physically, because maybe they put there a threshold where they say, okay, from 1,000 links you managed to remove 100 physically. Okay, we'll take all this disavow full into account. So, and I was again thinking then, if I go and remove the 404 pages, that means those links have been removed. How they've been removed? If the webmaster just dropped the page, or if I told him, hey man, can you take down my article what you grabbed from my website or something, you know, my content, and they just remove the page, that's irrelevant. For Google is, I got that link removed physically. Does that make sense? And it will count as like I've removed the links. It doesn't matter how. And that's my thinking beyond, and that's my process how I'm working, and it works very well. And if Google wants to slap me for that, let them do it. I mean, let them give me that. I'll ask for another alternative.
No, it's a legitimate way, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when Googler says something, if you read it, you have to read what they're saying on their Webmaster Central, what they're saying when to use this tool. And from there, and they don't have any limits or anything. Don't remove more than so many or something like that. There were some rumors, but
yes,
you know how it is.
So this is the remove outdated content tool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, interesting.
And we're helping Google to clean up the garbage. I mean, that's another good thing about it. I mean, it's to their benefit. I don't see any problem with that. Or they prefer to have broken links in their search results or something like that. I don't know.
But doesn't the site have to have a 404 answering on the page for it actually to work?
404, 410, 403. And I'm not sure 500, I don't remember 500. I think also 500 works.
So if the site's if the link's on another site and they don't have a 404 on it, this tool won't remove the page.
No.
In the search.
No. If something changed on the page and you indicated that pop-up when it pops up, when you put the link, it pops up and it says that the page is still existing, something like that, and then they have a little box, and you have to say the content was updated. So what was updated? If a word changed something on the page, just the word would be enough, or you know what I mean, or an anchor text is gone, and you put that there. That's just to signalize, and then when the bot is going to go and check, they're going to search for that word. And if that word is not there, that tells them they don't need that, but they just ask for it. But they know that the page content has been updated, that something changed,
I couldn't get that. I mean, there were pages I wanted to remove from the index, like for argument's sake. Somehow or other, Googlebot went mad and indexed, I think about 100,000 XML files, and they were actually in the index. And yet I was just looking at my outdated removal tool and the report using your link. This is dating back to 2008, but that they denied, even though I had the XML files returning a 404. For some reason, they denied me the opportunity. Like it wouldn't work to remove anything.
There were 404s and they didn't remove them?
No.
You can click on the word denied, and then you see why it was denied.
Okay, I'll have a look. I'll hit that link again.
Maybe they were soft 404s. Are you sure that was returning 404 headers, or it was just a 200 and you were just having a word not found or something on it or something? That's very important.
I used the extra tag to 404 the directory. I'll just see if I can find it here.
From my experience, once you're talking about 404s, etc., a website was redesigned in 2005, and the website was redesigned. The URLs were completely changed, completely. Everything was completely different, content, everything. And the last time we found links in the Webmaster Tools from the website that doesn't exist since 2005, those URLs I mean, was 3 days ago. The last time I was in the panel on that site. Since 2005, we're getting thousands, and they're still showing up. So I'm asking you, where does Google find those links? Where are they bringing those non-existing anymore links into the Webmaster Tools of a website that is 9 years ago does not exist?
Well, that might be a problem with Google Webmaster Tools. Because I don't know why, but Google Webmaster Tools sometimes feels outdated to me.
Okay, yes, absolutely, I agree with you, but I have to tell you this, that I figured out, I found many links which are coming 404s, I mean that they don't exist anymore in the Webmaster Tools, which those pages, those 404s, still they're out there links pointing to those pages. Do you understand? So, and when Google is showing it up, they're showing it up in the Webmaster Tools that those pages have 404s, but that tells me that when Google crawled the links which were pointing to that page, and suddenly, okay, they're 404s, and they'll show it. You know what I mean?
But when you do a site colon and then the URL, they don't give any
site colon
results. So my guess at that point is like it has been taken out of Google search, but Google Webmaster Tools is just messing up.
No,
am I wrong in that?
Wait, it's not taken out from, no, it's not taken out from the index, it's not being displayed in the search results.
No, oh, yes.
We have 3 different, or maybe more different levels in the search results. We have the main index, which is going to show up pages which Google considers as healthy or good or whatever, that they're okay, and they show them in the search results. Then we have the supplemental pages, which the supplemental pages will show up in very specific individual queries, like if I have a page that dropped in supplemental and it has a word that is not being used from anybody on the planet, or just maybe 10 people. A page like that could still show up then in the search results when you do that specific query for that specific word. And then we have the supplemental pages, which again, they can still show up, supplemental pages, for example, if it's a very specific query again, a specific query, but also without a specific query, they can show a sum of your supplemental anyway when you do the site column. So if you have 100 pages and they're showing up in the search results, your site is 100 pages and they're showing up in the search results, let's say 100 pages, it doesn't mean that all those 100 pages will show up for some stronger competitive queries. That means every website has pages in the supplemental, right? And that happens just because it depends on your crawl budget. I mean, how many pages are going to be in the main index, and not only crawl budget, but also links coming to the pages and what kind of links and that kind of stuff. So, and they have different levels in their indexing. I know for sure they have the main index, they have the supplemental, which still exists, and nobody can deny it. Then we have the next one is the cache, for example. And I believe they have even one that is even deeper. That is, like, I call it garbage can. And these things are coming out, what we're seeing on the Webmaster Tools from this guy from 2005. I saw many links, many pages, 404s that don't exist since 2005, that they already, there were links pointing there to those pages still, and there's some that they're not showing any links where Google found them from. You know, when you know what I mean. So, and those must be the ones that are coming out from the cache. For some reason, they're showing some. Yes.
John.
Yes.
John.
Sorry. Okay.
if you remove a URL via removals, then Google removes it immediately, but it's not removed from the SERPs. The title stays there. Only the snippet they will take away. So they will show it as a minimized SERP result, and they will remove it after crawling. So it's not a one-on-one.
Okay. Number one, when we're talking about removing from the Webmaster Tools removal tool, that means that that tool is being used we use it to get that removed from the search results when somebody is searching.
No, I'm talking about tools/removals.
Yes, to remove it from being shown up when I do a search. Right, that it doesn't show up in the search results, but it doesn't mean that we're removing from Google's index.
No,
we don't have the power.
Normally, they will still show the title still in the search.
So no, that depends, Rob.
They will only remove it after they've crawled it.
Yeah.
So they don't immediately crawl it after you send a request to remove it.
Yeah,
those are different.
Yes, I said that before. It doesn't happen instantly. I mean, they're going to record it, what we send out to them. They're going to record it. They're going to put in their list in their process to reevaluate, to check it, to assess it. How do you say it? So it's not like I'm going and putting the webmaster, I'm putting a link, and 24 hours later it says been removed. It doesn't mean, though, that it's removed. It could be removed from the search results from being displayed when I do a search. That doesn't show up when I do a search. Site column is not the useful thing in this case. Doesn't work. So when I do a search, it will not show up in the search results in any means when they already process that. And the webmaster tools, when they say removed, if they signalize that it's removed, I expect as a user that it has been removed. And when I do a search and that page doesn't show up, then it's for me removed. But from experience, maybe that's where you're getting to, I think. From experience, I see that it's not being entirely removed. Now, if you're talking about snippets in the search results, like a title, just a title and a link, that is, again, another story. That is when you're using robots.txt. When you use robots.txt,
but also with the removal tool.
Yeah.
So if you have a page that has been changed and so they remove a name or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
You will get the message that they follow it. And from that moment on, a few hours later, it will only show in the server as a title and a link.
That should only happen, Rob, if somebody is using robots.txt to block a page.
No.
I think Rob's right, John.
Maybe I'm not understanding what. So I removed the page.
It looks exactly the same as somebody robots texted out.
Okay.
Yes. Happens when you remove it via webmasters/tools/removals.
Yeah. Okay.
And they only remove it completely when they crawled. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sure. Yeah, that's right. That's what I said. I mean, when they say it's removed, that means that there's this signalizing that, well, I think the message what they're giving us is misleading. Or you get denied or you get removed. Yes, I agree. I think normally they should just say that it's being processed. I mean, for the real fact how it really works. When they say removed, that doesn't mean removed. Yes, I agree. Yes, fully. Yes.
Can we
move on to the next question?
Yeah, well, we don't have a next question. We're on the disavow the statement that on the how Googlebot covers listings in the disavow list. But I suppose that we probably talked ourselves out of that, did we?
How they process it, yeah, didn't we?
Well, if we've got nothing more to add on the disavow list, let's go to green room. We still have a viewer left. I'm going to put a link on the community, which will let you join us. You're more than welcome to join us. But look, I'd like to thank you for continuing to watch this. Your interest in what we do makes what we do worthwhile. And we'll be back at the same time next week to do the same thing. Thanks very much.